Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Elite Dangerous. Now exploration is changing with Chapter 4, the next update for Elite. It's widely known by now of course, but it also seems to be broadly accepted as a good change. However, not everyone is happy about it and some with good reason. Also, even with the upcoming changes, there are a number of things that appear to still be missing. So today I want to talk about why I feel exploration really does need to change, but also to discuss some of the things that still need to be added. For me then, one of the most interesting things about exploration is coming to terms with the scale of space, not just the galaxy at large, but also star systems, planets and even moons. All of these are immense, and even the smallest of moons in Elite is larger than the entirety of many game worlds. But here's the thing, whilst space is largely empty, because it's made up of a lot of, space, each star system also happens to contain a heck of a lot of things. This then is our very own solar system in Universe Sandbox. It looks familiar and has all the usual bodies we'd expect to find: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars and so on. It also has all the moons, and by all, I mean more or less every moon we are currently aware of, and that means hundreds of moons in total, many more than we can see in Elite Dangerous. To get a grasp on this, let's take a look at Jupiter. From a distance, it looks chaotic. Up close, slightly less so. But either way, this shows just how complex even a single planetary system can be, let alone a full star system. Of course, Elite doesn't have this level of detail, and it could be argued, quite reasonably in fact, that perhaps it doesn't need it. However, I want to stick with this subject for a moment longer because I do have a point to make with it. Let's head away from Jupiter and take a look at the solar system as a whole. So here we are, looking at the solar system with planets and all non-moons larger than 200 kilometers. You can see there's a lot of them. And this one is a theoretical simulation of all potential dwarf planets in our solar system. One more look here at something else. This is all potentially hazardous asteroids. Again, it's a complex and seemingly chaotic scene. Now combine all of this together and it's clear to see that star systems are far from empty. In fact, there's so many objects here that it's more than possible to very easily extrapolate numerous gameplay activities, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. So as we mentioned earlier, Elite doesn't have this level of detail. Instead, we have this. As nice as these maps are in their own way, they're not really representative of a star system, and they would have no way of showing the level of complexity that we just saw in Universe Sandbox. Now it really is this lack of detail and complexity where I feel Elite still needs to be dramatically improved. But that may well be a technical hurdle that is impossible to overcome. After all, representing thousands of bodies in a simulation software like Universe Sandbox is a very different prospect to implementing the same level of detail into a multiplayer game world. So for now, let's focus on what we actually have. One way or another, regardless of your approach to exploration, and there are many different ways or many different forms of exploration, exploring is by and large about finding things. What you do when you find these things and the reasons you were searching for them in the first place will be different from person to person though. So finding things is what it's all about, and this is really why exploration in Elite Dangerous has a serious problem. Currently, right now, finding things in Elite is a bit of a joke, a single button press. Of course, you might then want to go on and do a detailed surface scan, but that is hardly any more interesting than the initial honk. Exploration needs to change. It really should never have been left in such a basic state for so long. This isn't gameplay. However, precisely because it has been left in the state for so long, there are now a lot of players invested in the current system, and a good number of them who quite rightly fully enjoy it. The trick then is that any change needs to be functional for a wide range of playstyles, including those that enjoy the current system. Bottom line though, sadly, is that this is more or less impossible, so unfortunately something has to give. The new proposed changes, and if you don't know what those are, then do check out the link up there on the top right hand side of the screen. The new changes then certainly make exploration very much more about finding things. As far as I see it, this is the right move. What it means is that we are moving away from instant reveal of the star system towards a slower, deeper revelation of a star system. Remember, as I illustrated earlier, star systems are and should be a complex beast. Mapping one shouldn't be easy, but it certainly should be rewarding, and not just in the terms of credits, but also in terms of accomplishment. Building up an image like this over time would likely feel very rewarding for a lot of people. In this sense, it's not just about uncovering individual planets, but completing a full understanding of something. Unfortunately, this sense of accomplishment is still going to be very limited, because we are still stuck with this. It doesn't paint a good picture of what has been discovered. It tells me that the exploration data I've just spent ages locating is simplistic and underserved. In short then, Elite doesn't just need better searching mechanics, it needs more things to find, and more importantly, it needs better ways to represent the things we find. Chapter 4 likely fulfills two of these things or two of these objectives, but it is still missing what I'd argue is the most important part. So we've established that space is big, as if that ever needed establishing, and we know there's a ton of things to find out there, less so in Elite Dangerous of course, but they have said they're going to be adding new things into Chapter 4, and there's also the new discovery mechanics for unidentified signal sources. But that's stuff in space. What about planetary surfaces? Well, it turns out these are pretty big too. Here's a mocked up map of all the solid landmass in our solar system. As you can see, there's rather quite a lot of it. This means a lot of area to cover, a lot of landmass to search. The new probe system is designed to help with this. Locating permanent points of interest is a massive step for all players. And again, if you don't know the details on the new system, then do check the link on the top right hand side of the screen. Now, we are slightly better positioned with surface maps than we are with star systems because we actually have a pretty decent method of representing surface details. Permanent points of interest are going to be selectable from within the ship, but it's not clear yet whether they will be actually represented and selectable on these maps, but they really need to be. After all, what is exploration without a detailed mapping system? At this point, we still don't know enough about exploration in Chapter 4, so this means we need to wait and see and feel it in action. However, it really does seem to me that the entire process is very much about mapping a star system and then mapping planets. The entire game loop is centered around this concept, and that naturally means building these maps is an involved step. Will it be a grind, or will it be boring and repetitive? I guess we will have to wait and see. In concept at least, it does feel to be a step in the right direction. However, in execution, as with everything else related to Elite, that will possibly be debatable, but let's see. For now though, I still think there could be a number of issues. The exploration data, regardless of how we gather it, really does need to be well represented. The new system potentially leaves explorers with a certain playstyle hanging in the wind. For those that like to honk and move on to either the next system or to choose a specific or desired planet for example, the new system may well be a hindrance. For those that like to sightsee, that take screenshots or, like me, make videos, then this new system will again certainly be a hindrance. Production times for my Discovery series are certainly going to take a massive increase. Personally though, I will trade that for a decent exploration system, but your mileage may well vary. Do let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments section below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.